Hi, my name is Vincent Bass. I'm joined here by Danny Davalos and Claire Colson to ask them questions about the fundraiser for the first ever LGBTQ Center in Salem.
Hello.
Hi there. Thanks for being with us today, Vincent.
Of course. Thank you for letting me join. Can I ask for your pronouns?
My pronouns are she, they.
And my pronouns are they, them, she, her.
Good to know, good to know. My pronouns are he, him. Let's get right into the questions. What is this event going to be about? Can you go into some details on how it would look, how it would go, what you're looking for?
So I can kick this off. So Rainbow Youth is a part of a community effort to build the first ever LGBTQ center here in Salem, Oregon. As one of the largest counties in the state, serving a huge population of LGBTQ youth and community members, we really need to have a space that is inclusive, that is accessible, and that allows for us to have connection with one another in a way that's safer and more accommodating than some of the other spaces we currently have in our community.
Yeah, and a person who shows up to this event should expect several performances, one by Confluence Choir, which is a really loved choir in our community. Hannah Wood, another great performer, well known for her performances in some of the Capital Pride events. And then Christina Phoenix, who's a drag queen, who's going to be there providing some entertainment as well. And then we have a cellist who's also going to be showing, Amy Chow, who's going to be there sharing her talents with us all. And you should expect like silent auction, community in general, and we'll have some snacks as well.
We're also going to be doing a survey because it's really important for us right now to try and gather information to show to our city council and to other people who hold a little bit of power who could actually do something and see a tangible way of saying, hey, we need this space, we need this support, and we need this for our community. There is demand for it. People are showing up, people want it and need it. And so we'll have a pretty brief survey that we'll ask everyone to fill out too.
Yeah, why is an LGBTQ center needed and wanted within the community?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is the financial barrier of finding spaces to meet and gather. I know, I'm the youth program coordinator for Rainbow Youth. And so whenever we want to put on an event like our holiday party, or we want to go on a field trip, or we need a place to gather with our interns, we end up having to pay a really large amount for that. And sometimes that money is not going back into the pocket of our community. By having a community center, we would be able to have spaces that would be either low cost or no cost to our community, as well as some offices and central locations for a food pantry, a clothing closet, other resources that our community needs that they have in bigger urban areas. I mean, Portland has one. We've got things in Eugene, we've got things in Corvallis, but we have nothing here in Salem.
Yeah, exactly like Claire says. And I think the other piece is I think we have a chance of coming together as a community. I know that there's a lot of us in Salem. There's a lot of us in this area, and we would like a space so that we can kind of hang out, do some meetings, maybe like specializing in like a lesbian meeting, or maybe like a gay meeting, or maybe like a trans meeting. And that way that we can give some special resources to every demographic or every group that does show up.
Where will the LGBTQ center be located in Salem?
So we want to make it in a central location that's easy to access. So we know not everybody has a vehicle. We know that we want to have it pretty close to some sort of bus line or public transportation. So we are looking pretty centrally in downtown Salem, trying to keep it where everyone would be able to reach it pretty equally.
Yeah, and the challenge is finding a space that's affordable. And so we're trying to find the right space that'll kind of hit all those dots, and then make it someplace that's big enough for what we're looking for, right?
Yeah. Um, what will it do? Like, what is the LGBTQ center going? What's its mission? What will it have for its attendees and the community?
So, like Danny mentioned, we'd love to be able to host groups, support groups, things like that. Like I mentioned, we'd love to have some resources, like again, a clothing closet, maybe some gender affirming care. But we also have interest from groups like mental health care providers who would be able to provide supportive, inclusive mental health care for individuals. Groups also like PFLAG or Salem Capital Pride or other LGBTQ serving groups have kind of been meeting wherever we can make do and not in a central location. And how amazing would it be for a young person to be able to come in, to be able to go to their Rainbow Youth meeting, and then a parent to be able to come in and go, hey, I need to chat with someone from PFLAG. I need a little support. And also, could I schedule an appointment for my kiddo to get to chat with someone about their experience with transitioning? So, an experience like that would be so much more straightforward and fewer barriers to feeling like I got to go to 12 different places just to take care of the young person in my life or the adult in my life, right? So, we'd love to just make it a hub for community gathering.
And a lot of the center locations that we've looked at, the Portland one, I've been to the Vegas one, and one of the things that we did see was a library of queer books organized by category of like LGBT and kind of further. And then another piece is giving youth an opportunity, giving youth and our community an opportunity to maybe get employment opportunities. So maybe like we have a cafe where people come in, they have something to drink if they'd like to, and it's a space where you don't have to get a drink. You can just hang out and kind of be in the space. Maybe we also offer computers and other technology resources that might be really useful for the community.
And that's wonderful. Everyone deserves to have easy access to those resources. But how do you plan to get the funds and the resources?
So part of it starts with this event. This is our first fundraising event of several that we're working towards. And we really wanted to break it down into the different types of financial contributions that we need. Um, Contributions both on an individual level, right? Folks in our community may not be able to give hundreds of dollars. They might be able to commit to $10 a month, though, right? So that's something that's what we call a sustaining donation. That's going to help sustain us over time, something consistent that we can rely on. Then in the spring, we want to hold a fundraiser for businesses and larger organizations that can be capital sponsors. They can be people who put a bigger chunk of capital or money in towards it. Also, if people, want to include us in their will, or they want to donate a portion of inheritance to it, if someone wants to set up a scholarship, there are lots of big and small ways that we can get those funds. We are also looking into grants and other external factors, but with the current governmental climate, we want to make sure that we're not relying on funds that may or may not be there when we need them. So we're really asking for community not to give more than what they are capable of giving. Of course, we never want to stretch someone too thin. But there are other ways to support, but this is the biggest start, is doing fundraising events like this, nights to come and support us, ways to give financially so that we can get our feet on the ground.
Yeah, and no amount is too small. Like if you have $1 to give a month or every once in a while, the main heart here is to have our community engaged. And if you're engaged financially or if you're engaged by volunteering, that's how we're going to keep this space alive. And this is how we're going to keep this space feeling safe and a resource to our community.
Sorry, there's a people doing construction in my background, so that might be a little loud.
No
For the fundraiser, why is it at the Universal Unitarian Congregation?
So this is a great example of why we need a queer center. When we were looking to do this fundraiser, we were looking at a lot of the very like neutral locations, right? Places where everyone could come, would feel comfortable. They either cost a lot of money, which we don't have. They're not available during hours outside of like what I call bank hours, like 9 to 5. So most of us have to work. And so we needed to do it in an evening. A lot of those spaces weren't available. And so I think this is a good indicator of why we need a queer center. We need to have spaces where we could host something like this. This is an affirming congregation. They're non denominational, meaning they're not associated with any particular religious group, and they are very supportive of the queer community. So while it is a congregation, right? They call themselves that and not a church. They consider themselves more of a community space where they gather and speak to spirituality and faith of their own, but are very accepting and understanding, even of folks who are agnostic or atheists. So this is not a space where anyone should expect any religious affiliation, any religious association. We're not going to be preaching at you or have any agenda. It's just a space that we were able to access where they were willing to support us in this venture.
Yeah, and if anybody who ends up going there, you should expect to not see any major religious imagery. Nobody will try to proselytize you. The goal here is to use the space that's available to us, that they have freely granted to us, and at the same time, be respectful of the space that they have provided. And it's got the equipment and all the stuff that we need, including the ability to stream. So hey, that's a plus.
And great acoustics too.
Yeah, really nice.
And what are you looking for specifically within the community? How can people help?
So there's kind of three ways I would say we can have you help. Of course, we're going to want those donations. That's really helpful. And if you can't donate, if you know of somebody who can, if you know of a business who can, please by all means bring that information or bring that with you. The second is to volunteer. It takes a lot of people to make an event like this happen. A lot of legwork before, during, and after. So if you're willing to volunteer, that's fantastic. And then the other part is to just participate and share. Come learn about what we're doing. Come learn about why we're doing it so that you can then broadcast it to the community. You can help us with networking. You can help us make those connections because who knows, maybe you have like a great uncle who's like, oh, yeah, I've got like $10,000. I'd love to invest in a local community because my amazing nephew would be there all the time. So there are so many different ways that we as a dynamic and diverse community are connected to one another. And so this event specifically is about opening that door, starting those conversations, and getting connected. So whatever that looks like for you, we'll take it.
I want to accentuate that element too of like volunteering and getting involved. One of the biggest pieces that we didn't answer about an LGBTQ center is that it would give us the ability to do intergenerational work. So we get a chance to get like the elder queers and the younger queers together and doing something together, whether it be making something or doing a dance class or maybe doing yoga or maybe showing up to a session about learning how to underwater basket weave, whatever it might be. We have an opportunity to kind of connect these two elements together. And I think those is something that those two elements are like the ability to connect two generations together or multiple generations together is something that we're really missing. And so this would give us that opportunity. So if you're an individual who finds yourself like, I might be too old or I'm too young to arrive, show up. We really need you being there because your experience, your life, everything that you've been through could really help somebody else.
And I forgot to mention this too, but we're having the silent auction, right? So if you're an artist, if you have something that you create, if you have a skill, please, if you're willing to donate some of that, we've been very, very lucky to already have like a massage therapist and a local artist give donations of, hey, I don't have money, but I have this product that I can contribute to. So if there's something along those lines, we could use that as well. We're outside the box thinkers, and so we want you to think outside the box with us.
What are you looking to specifically happen at this event? Like, how will it go?
Well, and please interrupt me, Danny. I keep going first, so you're
No, no.
welcome to jump in too. We're gonna open up by just having everyone arrive, get to mingle and kind of look around, become familiar with the space. We are, just so you know, going to have a room where we're going to be live streaming the event. For those who might be overwhelmed with the sensory experience of being in a room full of people. There will be a quieter room where you can still watch all of the things that are going on. It will also be online for anyone who doesn't feel confident or is not able to come in person. So you can always sit and watch. There'll be that silent auction. We'll have that survey, like I mentioned. We really need the feedback on that. We'll have the drag queens, the musicians. And so we're going to open up with some entertainment. Then we're also going to have a panel of guests, and I will let Danny talk a little more about that.
Yeah, we'll have a panel of guests focused on answering these same questions, but live. I think a lot of people are really excited by this idea, but have a lot of questions about what does it look like, who's going to be supporting. So we're getting PFLAG in there. We're getting Capital Pride to show up. We're getting some Rainbow Youth representation and other organizations like Black Joy who are all kind of participating in helping this process happen. And that kind of accentuates this idea that this is not one organization trying to make this happen. This is an entire community collaborating and like putting hands together so that we can get this to happen. I'm also going to add that we're going to have, in addition to that other room where you can watch it streamed, a sensory room where there will not be a video, but that you can just kind of go in there and just relax if it's overwhelming to get in the space that's there. So we want to make it as accessible to everybody as possible. And of course, I feel like we have to mention this for a lot of people who might be nervous, accessible restrooms and restrooms that are not gendered. So feel free to use the one that is closest to you.
Yeah. Yeah. We're really trying to, with this event, kind of demonstrate like a preview of what we're trying to build with this community space. This is to the best of our ability with a space that is not yet ours, right? This is not our future space. But again, trying to set that precedent of like, this is what our world could look like. This is what our community could look like. This is where our heads are at in trying to build the correct space for our community that fits us, and there shouldn't ever be something for us that is built without us.
And you guys mentioned donations earlier and how people could donate, but what will the donations specifically be used for?
So the primary thing is going into the purchase of a building. So we kind of have a two-tier system. We would really like to purchase a building outright so that we are not dependent on somebody as our landlord. We're not dependent on paying a monthly mortgage. We'd really like to have something that is ours, that we have ownership and autonomy within. If for any reason we are not able to do that, the market is always something that is a little unpredictable, again, especially in our current climate. And so we will use our best judgment. If we end up needing to lease or rent, that might be what we do. But either way, these funds are going into that main pot to be able to make that initial investment. And everyone who's contributing in this first year is going to be part of our founder donations, meaning they are part of that base level, that beginning, that first brick in the walkway towards our future.
Nothing to add there. Exactly that.
What should people bring to the event when they come?
Danny?
Bring themselves, bring yourself, and this is a fundraiser, so it might be too brusque of me to be like, bring your wallet, but we do need your ability to contribute in some way or another, whether it be $1 or $5 or more. Ideally, we really do need support from the community collectively for this to work out. And the other thing that I would bring is a friend, a family member, somebody who's invested in the same community, maybe somebody who wants to really support and doesn't know how to support, but this is a great way to do so. And then bring an open mind. I think having this mentality of like, what does it actually look like? We're super excited about having questions about like even maybe naming the building. What is it going to be called? And so showing up with an open mind will give you like creativity. And in that wide space and in collective community, we should be able to get a good answer.
The other thing is bring your phone. We're going to have QR codes for a lot of these things. So we will always have a paper copy of anything that is a form or anything like that to be able to fill out in person if you do not have a phone that can scan a QR code. However, you will want to bring that too.
That was my last question. Thank you guys so much.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Vincent.
And one thing I'm so sorry. The
I
one
was
thing
just
I
gonna
want to
say
make
thank you
sure
again.
we mention is it's going to be on December 13th from 7 to 9 p.m. So
That's
make sure
important.
you mark that down on your calendar. I was like, oh my gosh, we didn't say the date and time. But yeah, and then if you're wanting to volunteer, please by all means reach out. You can email Rainbow Youth. We will make sure and put a lot of information too with this video so that you have ways to connect with us. But yeah, December 13th, we want to see you there.